Hi, this is Jenny with the Forest Daisy. I have some bee themed DIYs to show you. I got this 4 pack of plastic pots from Dollar Tree. I originally tried to cut the rim off with a box cutter, but it wasn't working too well, so I went in with scissors instead, being as careful as possible. Then I started gluing down this jute rope that I got off of Amazon. I put a line of hot glue on the pot and pressed down the rope, circling around the whole pot. And once I got to the top, I left a small gap and cut the rope, but made sure to leave a little longer piece and I hot glued that into the hole. Then I painted a small circle with some black chalk paint on one side of the bee skep to make it look like the entrance, and I cut some strips of black and white striped and also plaid print ribbon, and I made 2 bows of each style and used jute string to tie it together. Then I glued down 2 pieces of greenery on both sides of the rope and glued the ribbon between that. I had a piece of wood that I painted with black chalk paint. I typically get my paint from Walmart. And then I cut out an image of a bee buzzing by with my Cricut, and I forgot my tool, but I transferred that onto the sign and then I sealed it with Mod Podge. I had this 14-inch wreath frame from Dollar Tree and some black pipe cleaners that I believe are from Walmart, and I cut a handful of those in half. Then I took some black deco mesh from craftoutlet.com and twisted the end and tied one of the pipe cleaners around it and attached that to the frame where it crosses vertically. Then I grabbed the mesh at a length between 8 to 10 inches and pinched that with my fingers. Then I pushed that strip of mesh towards the starting point, making a sort of poof shape. And I tied that with a pipe cleaner and had the ends pointing upwards. And then the next section that I did, I tied that as well with a pipe cleaner, but had that one facing down going through the backside of the wreath. And I kept doing that and alternating the direction of the pipe cleaner. And then I filled the frame about 3/4 of the way and cut the mesh off and just pushed that extra strip to the back. And then this bee was from Craft Outlet as well. And I put a pipe cleaner on the top and bottom of the backside, then glued that down and then put a popsicle or a craft stick over that to keep it in place. Then I attached the bee to the wreath in that open section. And I had some daisy print ribbon and bee print ribbon. I believe the daisy is from Craft Outlet and then the bee one is from Hobby Lobby. And I cut dovetail shapes at the ends. And I grabbed the daisy first and then put the bee ribbon on top and I crossed them over each other so they weren't both in the same direction. And I found the pipe cleaners that were sticking up and I tied the ribbon bundle into that pipe cleaner and then I alternated the order of the ribbon and I just cut the excess ends of the pipe cleaners off. And then these daisy accents I just glued over the center of the ribbon. I forgot to film the beginning of this craft, but I had some wooden honey dippers and I took my glue gun and just squeezed that over the end of the dipper and made a sort of drippy look with the hot glue. And I set those on some parchment paper so the glue could harden. And then when it was dry, I had some of this gold paint that I brushed over the dried hot glue so it looked like golden honey. And two of them I kept that way, but one of them I just decided to make a little bow out of some jute string for something different. And that was all that I did for this, but it was really simple and it can be displayed on like a tiered tray or a shelf or around your kitchen. Lastly, this set of tag signs were from Dollar Tree, but I took those apart to just use one of them. I cut out an image with my Cricut that says "Be kind." Once that was transferred onto the sign, then I made another bow with black and white plaid, but that ribbon was from Dollar Tree, and I glued that with two pieces of greenery at the top to cover up the hole where the hanger was, and then I glued a little sunflower over the center, and I also made a hanger with some jute rope. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy crafting, DIYs, and upcycled projects, please subscribe to my channel.